kitty cat sack?
No.
Maybe ask that in a less gayer way.
So,
Impossible.
my brother, when he visited, he said it 4 times without asking for a sack. And the people looked at him like he was just, like, totally stupid. It was great.
You wanted a bag?
Yes.
How do you not stop your dog from fucking barking?
Probably not even home.
I made a cheat sheet of all my different styles of attacking.
Math is hard.
Yes. That's exactly it. Mark, did you break that orb or did you steal it?
Broke it.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't trust his rogue. Don't fucking trust his rogue.
No, we watched it.
I watched it break.
Yeah, we watched it break.
Alright.
That's the way the
I'm just
wind
saying,
stops.
he could have been like, look, the old rook.
Well, when I broke it, all
It's
the
not
creatures
magic.
disappeared.
Yeah, all the creatures disappeared when it broke.
Just like
Disappear fucking late.
Just do it.
Convinces them on his way shadowing back around the corner. He's like, disappear, pass the word.
When I say the magic word, Alakazam, you guys leave.
Ow!
Punch him.
Flicked him in the nipple.
Beanbag causes more damage.
Yeah, but he's got jeans on, so there's a good protection barrier right there.
You just gotta snap that wrist. Get right through anything.
Ow!
So last session, for those of us that weren't here,
That was my first time missing D&D.
It's actually the best session we've ever had.
it went really. To be fair, it went really fast
It was
because there wasn't a whole
There
lot of
wasn't
people
a
here.
lot of people here.
But you guys went through the portal into
Explored.
the wind temple, basically. Explored a little bit, killed some wind elementals, got to a room full of wind elementals. Mark snuck around the outside edge and got to the crystal and just shattered it,
And they all vanished.
and everything vanished.
So he actually did his job.
So then you guys come back to the portal entrance and I'm just up there like,
No, I
How did it
think we
go?
just stopped inside the temple.
That's,
we got
that was where we stopped.
We got some loot. I think I got that.
I'll just
We have
come
loot,
walking,
yeah.
I'll come walking down and be like, you guys take care of him yet?
I stabbed
Yeah,
him in the throat.
no thanks to you.
We had a little
I can use
exploring
a
left to do, didn't
javelin.
we? We didn't go to everything.
Yep.
Nothing
Very
worthwhile.
well.
You're more than welcome to explore should you like to. You're wasting your time.
Okay.
I'm not telling you that at the DM, but
So let's just fast travel.
meander your way back out.
Yeah.
Okay, you're back in at the gates of the
And we had basically explored the shit out of this manor, correct?
Yes.
We found an arrow. I don't remember who's tracking that.
I was.
Yeah.
You found another one?
Not in the
No.
Just the one in the.
damage N.
So we found
Small
3.
Weapon
So
versus
far.
a medium-sized weapon.
And did they find any when they were searching the city at all? Did they...
Nope.
Never mind, I'll just keep my stuff.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go out in the city and
Yeah, there's enough for right now.
well, just kind of see what the fuck's happened since we touched this.
I thought
The
we
wind's gone.
found one.
The wind is all gone.
In the ruin.
The wind in the building has. I mean, it's not like the wind outside has suddenly stopped and
There's
everything.
no
is still,
wind
but-
left in the world.
It's eerie.
But yes, no, the wind that was howling through the building is now gone.
Mhm.
That's fine.
We did it.
I'm not supposed to.
And then
Up close
we
range,
we
anyway.
cut through the desert briefly. I believe in their map.
On a horse with no name?
You didn't travel through the day. You moved from. You went from the Lone Watch
Yep.
back through the Keeper's Flats,
Yep.
across the Rock Sea,
Yep.
then across Gambler's Plains, the desert being to the east of the Keeper's Flats, and the Dark Woods being to the east of the Rock Sea, and then the Broadleaf Forest being to the west.
To the nearest one.
We
you-
either have.
You have Arcana, correct?
Huh?
You have Arcana. Roll a Knowledge Arcana just for shits.
It's fairly high, if I
It's not.
Okay. 32.
32. You just can feel basically in arcane way. I mean, without seeing colors, you see rainbows, man. Double rainbows.
All right.
All the way.
The energy that once emanated from this location has dissipated. There's still clearly sources of energy.
The blight's still prevalent. Anything?
The blight is still very prevalent to the east, southeast, and then there's energy and energy to the north, energy to the northwest, and more blight to the west.
So we went through Gambler's Hollow, correct?
Correct.
What's the next one? We either have the lake foothills or the volcano.
Let's go to the volcano.
There was one
Can
that
we
was
rest?
in line with the next one.
Volcano.
I just don't remember which one was.
Yeah.
What's the next one? The closest one?
Volcanui.
Let's rest.
All right. So you have
Short rest.
A short rest. We gotta do 8 hours. We gotta sleep.
staying in the manor might not be horrible. It's a
Right.
defendable position
Well,
that's still standing.
While we're doing
Okay,
it.
so you guys are resting. So you know that the focus, well, the foci are Angry Top Volcano, Gambler's Hollow, Lake of Hope, and the Empty Foothills. You also know that the sources of the blight are the Darkwoods and the Edgewoods.
Darkwoods and Edgewoods, okay. And the lizards in the swamp,
Correct?
they have numbers. Wizard in black robes in tower in the Lone Watch.
That is
Where-
correct
where
also.
are we currently?
We are in Gambler's Hollow.
Okay.
We're gonna go to the volcano.
Yeah, we made some.
What's the nearest one?
Fucking. I
Volcano.
don't. Yeah, the Angry Top volcano would be the nearest.
As we
If you're not gonna push you in a direction.
Yeah, stop trying to.
where else is near us, by the way? Let me just look. It's clearly on the later. Tomadrill.
It's about time you showed something.
Well, that is pretty much the closest to the volcano, but the Empty Foothills is right there, and the Darkwoods. So we're kind of sandwiched between the two. I think you remember saying you said we don't want to go to the Darkwoods yet.
No, we decided that we were gonna do the woods last.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm eating
What?
Nothing.
it. He doesn't want us to go there.
Mm,
I still open it.
is there any type of logical thinking of this? Like, all right, we defeated wind.
This isn't a wind, water, earth, fire
Okay.
power triangle.
Don't forget heart.
I would generally assume that members of your party may have more vested interest in portions of this than others,
I don't
given the
remember.
fact that you have.
Huh?
My druid's all for going to the woods.
The Darkwoods, or the Broadleaf Forest, or the Edgewood,
And
or
Melon
the Empty
will live with
Foothills.
us.
To the next one.
Whatever kills the blight.
Okay.
The Darkwoods and the Edgewood have the blight.
All right. Well, we're close to the Darkwood, so let's knock that out.
To
Why
the
not?
Dark Woods.
Fucking A. Let's just see what
Okay.
happens.
So you're gonna spend the night in
Yeah.
Gambler's Howl.
Before-
It's an uneventful evening.
Before we go out, I want to search the town, see if we can find any more arrows, just cause.
Right. You can. It's assumed that whoever's on watch could go and kind of explore the town.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna have two people. The town is mostly in ruins. You can almost see across the town. You know, in most places,
Mhm.
and there are not any more arrows. But then you're going to travel back across the Gambler's Plains to
Darkwoods.
the Dark Woods. Guy, roll me a D8 or D10. I'm sorry.
As we're resting, my druid's gonna pull up the bullets and I'll be like, got something for you.
Is that just a joke, or do you really have something for me?
7.
From the
Okay.
bullet we killed.
Oh, you have a little one.
Fair enough.
However big the bullet is, I pull it out of my I guess I can just be like, I have a problem.
Roll again.
I'm starting to regret that we
2.
2. All right.
followed you.
You're making good progress across Gambler's Plains. Pretty uneventful. Although it is more lively than there's at least clear signs that there's animal activity here, unlike most of the desolate terrain you had traveled over prior.
Okay.
Go ahead again, guy.
7.
7. Continuing to progress. Give me another.
3.
3. No, that's nothing as well. So after spending most of the first half of the day crossing beautiful Gambler's Plains, you reach the edge of the dark woods. And the dark woods are pretty much exactly what you would expect. It's a very thick, dark forest.
Thick.
The trees seem to be almost black. The leaves are dark gray.
Fangorn? Or even worse? Fangorn was still alive.
Fangorn was alive. It's very clear that you guys have dealt with the blight before. And as you move further
Do
forward,
it every time.
the foliage begins to increase. There's the trees become a tangle, and undergrowth and brush start to swell up. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a robot's character here.
What'd you get? Okay, I'll do it last face.
Eventually, you reach a point where
Notice that you text. Like, oh, it's 8.
there's a clear path that seems to lead into the forest proper.
Okay.
Of note to the druids and rangers, there is some wildlife still here.
Twisted.
The wildlife isn't. It's very cautious of you. It's even more skitterish than your normal birds and rodents.
Talk to one of them.
Attacked by a mass of squirrels, tainted squirrels.
Just speak with the animal and
Hey, fucking idiots, get over here!
Hey, fuck face.
talk to one of them, try and see if I can figure out.
Where are the tracks coming? Where's the money,
Basically,
Lebowski?
yeah, I'm going to assume you spent some time talking to various animals because some of them have no idea of. They just fear the blackness.
Yes.
Some of the animals, like especially the birds, note that
Get too deep. It's just
the
black.
blight isn't necessarily, well, not brand new. It is a newer addition to the forest, and it seems to be focused deep within the woods.
Would the path we're on take us to it, or?
Eventually,
I thought you were eating cauliflower.
they also are fearful of. There's many predators in the forest.
Not even breaded.
Wolves,
So pure healthy.
snakes, as well as what at best they describe as kind of giant aberration type creatures. They don't really have a way to describe them that is clear to you.
Okay.
However, all these things are present within the woods.
These are small animals you're talking to, hopefully?
Yes.
Right? Okay, so I'm not so afraid of giant aberrations.
I brought my yearly contribution of candy.
It's like everyone's just walking around the forest, and my guy's going all Disney princess,
grab
talking to
the
the birds.
Stack of papers.
Sweetie. Are you whistling a song to them?
You speaking
Or
squirrel?
are you singing like Princess
I don't know
Fiona?
where I put them.
Just to get high enough to make them explode.
Top of that Daredevil box. I see
No.
paper.
There's books up there. Maybe I put them back. I don't know. Just so I have maps as we progress. But yes, that's basically what you can get from the animals. Most of them, I did put them back, tend to stay out of the deepest portions of the woods. But yes, the path will eventually lead you to the source.
There's a snaky squirrel named Rodney that goes into the dark parts of the forest.
Rodney!
You jerk my chain, Rodney.
Yo, someone go get Rodney. Someone wants to talk to him.
I'll slap your nuts off.
Yeah, after I find that out, I'll just let all you guys know that, hey, there's bad shit in here. Wolves, snakes,
Isn't
some
that
type of
normal?
aberration.
And woods?
What
It's
is
like
Jefferson Wolf's gonna
Aberration.
look at you and say, I'm a wolf.
I wasn't talking about you.
You're like a little pussy wolf.
No one
What
fears
kind
you,
of
let's be honest.
wolves and
Basically, lamb chops play along wolf.
giant wolves the size of dinosaurs or Jefferson?
Giant compared to the bird. So, probably regular size.
That's a big fucking wolf. Shut up, bird.
Alright,
You don't know
go
things.
cut them up.
Get in pecking order.
Let's free the forest.
I mean, if that's what happens in the end, then fine.
There might be loot, I don't know, whatever.
Let's help.
Are there
you.
undeads in here?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm game.
Yes.
The path
Oh,
leading
little
into the
flies.
forest is roughly 10 feet
Um,
wide. If you guys want to give me a marching order.
I'm gonna detect evils.
There's kind of a dull, evil, omnipresent here.
I'm gonna detect undead. You told me there's undead around here.
You don't detect any undead.
You're a fucking liar!
Alright,
Well, you're committed now,
I'm the
so might as well
tank,
continue.
so we
Where's
got
that around?
Is this
This
robot?
area.
Yeah, it's a robot and Jorgenol.
I can do it
This
within.
is
I can
robot's
keep
gonna
going.
always be up front
I'm
because
just gonna keep detecting as I
it's
go.
supposed to be right
That's
there.
what I want to do.
Which one are you?
No.
No.
Stick
It's the-
man. Keep going back.
It's the gun sword guy.
Okay, we got the bard in the middle so he can't get killed from behind.
Can't get bitch left.
Cleric can be in the back to defend.
Rangers off on the side of the woods.
Rangers are gonna be back. No,
Spread 'em out a
you
little
guys
bit.
want to be out?
Into the
How
woodsies.
wide is our?
10-foot path.
It's the path is 10 feet wide and it gets
Okay.
real thick beyond that.
Okay, so you guys got a double path. Maybe the wolf can be out there. So they can.
real thick.
Can the wolf tread this thick
Damn.
path?
Only small animals.
The wolf would probably struggle. I mean, anybody could travel through it, but
Is it like
I
a magical
think I would,
impediment
actually.
or?
no.
Oh fuck it, I'm going in that.
Yeah,
You're going in the woods.
I
It
could
doesn't
go in
slow me
there
down
too.
any.
It just looks,
Or it shouldn't.
you know,
Yeah.
his weapon looks like a little.
If it
Pew
does,
pew
then
of
I'll
the gun, like the
move
kid's
back
gun
onto
with
the
the
Right.
red
Oh,
tip.
No, it's natural growth. It's just
Dense.
unchecked
Yeah, I,
and wild.
I could go
Unruly.
through it too.
You
If
have
you-
freedom of movement or whatever. Woodland stride.
That's not
Was it orange?
All you rangers look the same.
No,
That's
they don't.
He's gotta
How
have
dare
it too,
you say
actually.
that?
I was gonna say, isn't that classist?
Yeah, classist.
Are you classist?
Racist. You
Dense
have
forest.
woodland stride. You have woodland
Wolf.
stride, don't you? You want to be out in the woods or what?
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
With Welf?
Dwarf elf.
What? How?
Ugly.
It's the ugliest thing in the world.
I think it's the worst of all of them.
What do you want to
You
be?
just get all the worst parts of each one.
So you're hairy and arrogant.
good enough.
Think you're king of the world.
Drinks a lot of beer.
All right, so you're gonna progress your way
What wishes he had wine?
into the forest.
Jesus.
Yes. How far out are you guys?
Hmm?
How far out?
It was kind of on the edge.
Like 10 feet out?
Yeah, that works.
He's afraid of
Yeah,
the
that
moss.
works. Alright, so you begin progressing down the path, making your way.
Downtown.
In the world today.
Walking
Take
fast.
everything you got.
The path basically winds its way. It's very clear that at some point this was likely a heavily traveled section of, not necessarily road, but a path that was at least reasonably traveled. However, that hasn't been the case in many, many years.
Not paved, but like
Right.
hard packed.
But it's hard packed and it hasn't grown up that much. You've got some grass that has begun to spring back up on it, and it's kind of brown. And you as you make your way, it's much the same. Everybody can roll a listen.
That's no good.
Tom girl rolled a 31.
I don't hear shit.
30.
8.
Listen.
15, 17.
Wisdom.
27.
Wait,
19.
I was wrong. 11.
Everybody who rolled over a 20,
Ah!
in the peripheries, beyond what you can see, but not out of the range of sound, there is definitely rustle in the forest, and
His name is Rodney.
it seems to move with you, but it never approaches you.
Like Silent Hill.
Yeah, kinda.
You wearing?
Silent Russell.
Russell, quit being silent.
Russell, I'm gonna give you a tussle.
And it's omnipresent for the better part of an hour while you guys are walking on the path.
Did somebody say burn the
Is
forest down?
Is the
Better
I thought
hustle.
I
by
heard someone
detecting
say
evil
that.
detecting it in the direction of the sound, or is it kind of like all over rustling?
It's rustling
Because I can hear that.
primarily
And I'm
ahead
about
of
to
you.
tussle with my muscle.
However, it's nothing that,
What's the
like I said, it's at a distance.
Okay.
It's barely audible. I mean,
Yeah, Hank's
it was a 20 to hear it. So,
Oh.
and after the hour, it kind of just fades out, as though it is increasing distance from you.
Tom Riddle's trying to rhyme words aloud with Russell. Muscle, tussle, tussle.
And at that same time, as you travel, the path widens slightly, not excessively, and ahead you can see a clearing.
Clearings always are trouble for us. Just saying.
I'm
Like,
sending Jefferson
what's a
Wolf in
clearing? Is it like waist-high grass, or is it?
No, it's much like what you're traveling on. It just ceases to be a path and kind of widens out. And the trees, primarily the trees are no longer present.
Yeah. Somebody
Alright,
wolf
so
out there and die.
Jefferson Wolf's going out there.
there.
Yeah.
All right, Jefferson Wolf is out there in the clearing.
Does he smell anything? You
whole
talk
clearing
to
goes,
freaking dog.
Oh, it was a giant plant creature.
Purple worm.
She's gonna tell him to act like a wolf.
Does
Do wolf things,
does
Jefferson.
it smell like fungus because of the blight?
The whole forest does have like an like a slight stench of rot. Now it isn't like pervasive like a crypt, but
I'm gonna motion for him to come back,
all right.
and then have my
Runs
druid-
over a robot.
have the druid converse with him.
You
Talk
can't
to
talk
my
to your
wolf.
own wolf yet?
Yeah.
I can communicate, but like
But C-Mac can actually
Yeah.
talk to him, and
He just-
he feels like that would be way cooler. Like, I'm not going to talk to my own wolf. I'd rather see somebody actually hold a conversation with him.
Druid, talk to the peon.
My wolf, you have a repertoire?
He basically relays to you, C-Mac, that in the clearing there's, what he would call crumbled stone, and there's a structure of some sort.
Ooh, a ruin. Let's go.
This is the portal where the apparitions come through.
Well, just sounds like ruins.
Onward.
I'm gonna
I'm
detect
going.
magic.
Yeah, I only have wild empathy, so I can like.
Once again,
feelings.
there's
Faint.
there's a faint aura of magic all around you, but no specific source.
Alright.
And you said you're going onward, Kevin.
Yes.
Oh yes.
As you enter the clearing,
Magical barrier pops up.
you can see
Smack into it face first.
Trapped in it.
basically in the clearing there was what you would assume was once probably a small stable that's pretty much crumbled into
Okay.
nothingness. And the main structure, the main building still stands. Doors still on it and closed. Like the front porch, it had like the wood front porch. That's obviously kind of rotted and collapsed. But the building itself is still standing.
Does it look flammable?
I'm gonna go in there and look for arrows.
Knock on the door.
Crumbled stone. Hello? Like crumbled cheese.
Problem solved.
You get no response in the door. The door is still in decent condition. It's very clear that it was probably a well-crafted.
Interesting.
Open it.
I'm going in.
Try to open it.
Let's check it out.
The door swings open. The interior is clearly in ruin. However, the fireplace on the far wall still stands. The building itself is fairly sound. It's just kind of a one room, like a hunter's cabin almost.
How long did it
Alright,
take us to
let's
get here?
search.
It's probably 1 in the afternoon-ish.
I search and roll a 14. What do I see?
We'll look for
Fireplace, some windows.
loot
There
caches,
you
like
read them.
under the floorboards, someplace where these guys might hide them. We'll check the stones.
Yeah.
Check
Spend
the,
some time searching
some
around.
time.
Jordan's
searching.
gonna do it because he's looking for booze. Like I know it's even though I got like barrels on me and fine.
check the chimney.
Yeah. Check the flue. Reach up. through.
After spending some time searching around, it's clear that whatever may have been here has long since been, removed. But the building seems at least sound enough for if you needed to spend the night. This would be reasonably defendable, and it keeps you out of the weather, more or less.
Does the trail lead anywhere else?
The trail leads out the other side of the clearing.
Okay. Is there anything in the stable ruins?
I was gonna say, anything else?
Dead horses.
Nothing that, there's probably scraps of what used to be feed bags.
As long as they weren't locked in.
We could have pushed the door down.
I'm gonna check the clearing, see if there's any tracks.
In the clearing, there's kind of what you would expect in a forest.
Kinda looks like a
Primarily
dog.
wolf tracks.
Nice
There's
little fish.
deer and then small game have moved through the clearing. Beyond that, there's tracks that were not well covered of 4 humanoid figures traveling both ways.
Up and down the path.
Out the way that, from the way you came across the clearing and out the other side, additionally from that side coming back across. Which is older is tough to tell. The difference in time is negligible as far as you can tell. Both trips were made at about the same time.
I'm gonna ask the woods folk, the people who are well versed in this wood stuff, about the woods folk. If we were to travel, continue on this path, how far could we get before night fell? Do you think it's worth doing that?
How far we can get, or how far you guys can get?
How far full-plated dwarf can get, since that's the lowest common denominator right now?
To the other side of the clearing?
Okay.
Theoretically, just given what the rangers and the druid know, and as far as having traveled with you guys, the forest can't be that large. Before you were, as you were approaching it, the mountains were approaching fairly quickly.
Okay.
So if you traveled, into the early evening hours, you could easily travel across to the mountains at the
Oh, wow.
edge.
Let's follow the path then.
Let's keep going.
Running
Let's
daylight.
stay here and have
That
an
would
Evil
be-
Dead experience.
Assuming that the
We have the Necronomicon. Yep.
there is no other factors involved.
Yeah.
God, that helmet's really cool. Dude. I'm gonna read from it.
I was wondering. I was like,
Continue down the path.
the books around here.
All right, you move onward,
They were pretty
and
nice.
Written in blood.
as you're traveling in, a rough direction, the path wise.
Ooh.
Why?
Tracky McTrackersons.
Have to go right.
Trackersons?
Birdie McBurderson, go up there and find where those
Bird,
trails
bird.
go.
You've got a bird too.
Go up there, look for tracks.
Tiberius, find the way.
Gone for days.
Flies
Yeah.
up.
Never seen again.
You have much of the same.
No, it'll come back. He gives it food.
Yep.
The path to the right from where you're traveling is once again has the two-way humanoid footprints. The path to the left has very, very old footprints from something much larger.
Ooh.
Let's go that
That
way.
way.
My way.
Left.
Okay.
I don't know if we should.
Ooh,
The
I've-
rogue says.
We can do what
No one listens
everyone
to your
suggests
rogue.
doing in
You're a
situations like
thief.
that. And split the party.
No, that's the worst idea.
You guys wait here quick. I'll send my hawk one way, wild shape into a hawk, and go the other way.
He's got a
See what
bird
we
too.
Well, you can't do anything with it.
But he can talk to it.
Yeah.
I can communicate like
He can-
general. He can just like say
Empathy
words
it.
to it. So
Yeah. Do what you gotta do, nature boy.
Send the bird, bird boy.
Come on, Ric Flair.
Release the birds.
Release the hawks and the owl.
Caw.
I'm gonna lean against the
my eagle
Tree.
will follow.
3 arrows come out of the forehead.
Kills them all.
Who's going which way? I'm sorry.
We're sending the birds.
Yeah, I know. What?
I'll send.
I guess it doesn't really matter, but C-Mac, you gonna go left or right?
Left.
Okay. C-Mac, you sent both birds go out, and I'm assuming you're sending them out for a specific amount of time and having them come back. To the left,
Is
your
everything in
bird
the box?
flies out and
Make a
finds
reflex save.
another Y, basically, in the path before returning. Belleville, your bird flies out and after a short distance, the path begins to expand. Additionally, it would notice that the wildlife begins to become less and less prevalent.
Like
that way.
to the right.
Does he sense any more evil? Like in a cluster?
There's no greater focus of eagle.
Just all prevalent.
Everything is
Permeating.
evil. I start cutting the trees with my sword.
Yeah, it's pissed off.
Remove the evil, and I'm like, stop. You need to
Jory
stop. They're
possessing
just
you?
trees.
Yeah, you're not Jory. You don't chop trees.
A leaf falls on you. You are evil now.
You're gonna travel down the right path.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you find that, much as the birds discovered, after what is a much longer time for you guys traveling, the path does indeed begin to widen. And the wildlife does indeed, for you nature boys, start to become less prevalent.
The trees look more deader.
Blighty.
There's maybe, I mean, it could be your imagination.
At least maybe-ish.
Somewhere
in there.
Possibly not.
Those of you with track, the three of you with track, roll me survivals, I guess. And everybody else roll spots.
Alright.
Bam. Spot
4.
is
14.
wisdom based.
22.
24.
18 and 19.
21 and 21.
All right. Those of you two, you can notice that nobody else notices it, but you guys can notice that in the woods, it's very clear that a large creature, a very large creature, has moved through the forest. Not necessarily recently, but recent enough that it's still noticeable, if barely.
Something big came through here.
Like what?
Something big is walking through here right now.
Can I knowledge nature to try and figure it out?
You
or-
can knowledge nature. You can try to knowledge nature it.
Trask. What?
25?
Um,
That's the highest.
nothing that you could think of natural would have caused as much disturbance. You know, and obviously something that wouldn't be natural to the forest could. You know, elephants traveling through a forest would cause a whole lot more chaos. But as far as what typically is prevalent in a forest from a nature standpoint, wouldn't cause the kind of damage you're seeing.
Whoever did it didn't live here. Doesn't live here.
So get ready for a fight.
Are there any footprints?
Nothing that you notice.
I'm gonna light this place on fire.
Keep going.
Kevin's
He
just like,
just didn't
keep
see
going,
anything."
I don't care.
I didn't
He
see
didn't
anything.
see
So far.
anything. He rolled a 4. He
Yeah.
sees his feet.
Just woods, like, it's the same shit. Go.
Need more finesse.
As you continue down the path, the path doesn't continue to widen, but the forest itself becomes less dense, and the terrain is starting to become a little bit more rocky. And
Fucking A giants.
and you can tell you're kind of rising in elevation. And at one point, everybody, I'm just gonna give it to everybody because
Yeah,
you guys
are.
could, in theory, roll this low like Kevin did, but you eventually reach a point where you kind of come up on a hillock, and you actually can see out over the forest canopy. You're traveling roughly, ahead of you is roughly in an easterly direction towards the mountains, which are actually very, very close now. You can kind of see the plains extending, Gambler's Plains expanding to the north, the rock sea expanding out behind you, and the desert to the south.
I think we walked through the forest.
No, really?
Well, you're not out of the forest yet.
Does the path lead up the mountain?
The path continues forward.
Alright.
You're not out of the. I mean, there's still trees. It's just not as dense as the forest was in the west.
You can't see the forest for the trees.
God, I want to kill one of your characters.
Do the rope.
Whichever one's making those
Claire
jokes.
is a little more useful.
Says Clark can heal.
Well, the rogue did more last time.
Team healing
Only
steel.
if I know his margin.
The cleric would be the one doing this because she's older. It's like mom jokes. There you go.
Oh, are these mom jokes now?
Mom's got jokes.
Yes. They're
Ah,
terrible like these.
What a good view. Let's keep going.
wow, so majestic. Fuck this place.
Free bird.
9 o'clock at night.
Keep marching.
That would be his MO.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
He's more or less a professional soldier. You find it once you leave the hillock, the path starts to travel down again, and ahead of you, you can see the path kind of leads down into a small valley. An interesting fact with the small valley is that it isn't overgrown with the large trees that you've been dealing with in the forest. Instead, it's all a black scrub brush in kind of twisted masses. The path is still open. Additionally, you can see the crumbling walls of what was once likely a keep. With it has just huge doors that are still present on the front of the building.
Kick him down.
Go to the keep.
Let's go to the keep.
You want
Make our way forward, I guess, and through the scrub brush.
Yeah, just walk. It'll be fine.
Alright. I'm detecting evil as I go.
The evil's definitely more omnipresent. Woo! As you guys enter the valley, as you guys reach the edge of the valley, the brush becomes difficult to move through.
For everyone or for just them?
People off the path.
They're on the path.
Okay.
They're not impeded by anything.
Only buyers.
I'm gonna start moving
Rangers.
towards the path
Okay.
and just kind of let them know that this stuff is getting hard for us to walk through, so it's probably magical.
Also, getting out of the woods.
13 people.
As you travel down the path, you are starting to approach. You can see better now through the brush, the crumbling walls of what was once likely a large fortress.
Somewhere.
The keep being the centerpiece of it. There's no like large towers or anything left of the outside walls. It's very much just crumbled ruins that are wrapped in black ivy. Yeah, there's a big hole where the path leads through. Likely once the gate.
Okay. But I do a spot to see if I see. Shit.
That's what happens when you
Yes, you can.
Just so I
You can
see, like,
you can
just
roll a
looking for,
spot to
like-
see if you can see shit. That's fine.
I'm looking for like
Looks like
any type of humanoids on the walls or anything like that. That didn't count. Still 7. So whatever. 9.
Given your precursory glance and your experience in your home, which is all fortresses basically, the walls likely aren't even a defendable position anymore. It's such... It could offer
place
high
is
ground to a
shit.
ranger, but
Okay.
that's about it.
Or a sleeping giant.
I do see shit. These walls.